We are back. I am Money Flow Mel. I have Charlie joining me.
Good morning, Charlie.
Good.
Oh God. Good morning, Mel.
Good morning. Good morning. Let's do this. Great. Appreciate all the support on the last video that we pushed out. It's a great opportunity to be able to dive a little bit deeper, have some examples to go over. Charlie, this is definitely not the same market that we were trading a year ago.
Definitely not.
So as the market changes, we kind of have to change as traders. And that's something that members would have noticed recently, because we started to push out a few flow trades to the app that was a little bit different from what members normally see. So kind of wanted to spend the time to have a video that's trade what the markets give you. So when we're following money flow, we don't know where that's going to be positioning. So we're just going to be observant, see where they're positioning. And sometimes it's a little outside of the ordinary. I do want to start with what we're looking for when we're analyzing options flow. You're going to continue to hear us say this over and over again. We're looking for same strike and expiration. We want sweeps or sweeps and blocks, no solo blocks. Contract price is increasing, IV is increasing, and that pro tip, check those timestamps. Multiple orders coming through in a short time frame will usually indicate the same buyer. This, I think, caught a few people off guard, Charlie, when you pushed out this EEM. So this is ETF Flow that came in on 4/21. Let's focus over here on the left-hand side at the bottom. They came in to the 520 $43 puts, sweeping above the ask with 4.68 million behind it. They did follow up and add a smaller size block. That contract price did increase into that same strike and expiration. Definitely different from what we see, Charlie. What were you thinking there?
You know, the way the markets just had been looking in general, and we've never sent out a put play. Now, we play puts in the room all the time. That's not rare for us, but actually sending it out to the app, to people on the go, the professionals at work, this was new to us, and it was just too much size to ignore. I mean, I couldn't look at this and go, well, it just looks like a hedge or something. I mean, it looks like somebody was bearish. And so we went for it. It was the very first one.
We did. So they came in the morning with size, but interestingly enough, they tacked on and followed up even with some shorter dated, the 4/29 $43 puts. So they hit it from a little more time going out to the May monthlies, and also into some shorter dated. And just wanted to kind of show you what that looks like on the screen when they came in. It was right here at 43.21, and you did have a fade of that EEM dropping the next day. But interestingly enough, this was the 21st when they came in. I think that was a Friday, if I'm not mistaken, or I don't recall the exact date, but we did actually see them exit here on 4/25. You can see this trade did go bid side with a block. Now, they didn't take off all contracts, but a majority of these contracts were closed. So really important, when you see them come into the trade, you want to know when they are actually exiting and taking most of their position off, if not all of the position. Nice profit here, closing 8.18 million. So coming in at 98 cents, closing out a majority of these contracts for $1.76. That's pretty good for the EEM. Not necessarily your fastest mover, but that was a quick trade, and we were able to get some nice profit on that one. Charlie, it just really didn't stop. So on that day where we had the EEM, we're still on 4/21, we saw size into the XOP. And what's interesting to note here is, as you've had some pullbacks coming into the tech sector, our software, our growth names, you've had this flight and this like boom into our oil and gas names, commodities, materials, and then all of a sudden we see above the ask sweepers coming into the XOP. That's going to be your oil and exploration ETF. They came in on 4/21 to the 520 128 puts, hit both of these above the ask. First coming in with a $352,000 sweeper, followed that up immediately. Or dang, same second there. Contract price even increased. You can see they came in for 271, popped up to 285, adding 5.8 million there. And that was going to be actually in red tape here, low a day right here on this candle, Charlie.
Jeez. Yeah, they came in low a day, and that was, almost didn't send this one out. It was like, all right, sending out our second ETF and our second put flow on the same day. And especially with it being out of the money, almost 10%, but we're like, you know what? They're putting that much money into it, over $6 million. We've got to follow.
Definitely have to follow. And then this was what was interesting. We did kind of gap down, but I looked at this too and went, 140, man, that sector has been really strong. And just to kind of give you an idea, when they came here at low a day, you did have a bigger drop. I know most got out this next day because it was just some really nice gains on those contracts.
Yeah, the 21st was on a Thursday, and both these bottomed that we just showed on the 25th, which was the following Monday.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So very quick profits.
Very quick, very quick. Interestingly enough, the next day we had size into the XME. So just so much ETF flow, but just with the kind of size they were putting, that's something unusual. It's something that we don't normally see. So we're just going to continue to trade what the market gives us. This was another one that was pushed out to members on the phone app. They are coming into the 520.57 puts when spot was around 60.19. They swept it again with 540,000. And I think this one may have caught a few people, Charlie, because they originally came in on the ask, and then you have this second order that's bid.
But higher price, yeah,
yep.
Higher price. Just a couple minutes later, price moving up. We looked at that as, same buyer.
Very close with the timestamp. And that was a big block, 4.61 million. So here you have over you have 5.15 million in premium into this position. So again, them coming in, and you already had a bigger drop here. They came in right here on the 22nd. You have had a drop. I did do a double check. They're actually still in this position. And interestingly enough, Charlie, we do have the historical feature on the platform. So we're able to go back and look through any of the activity on any of the tickers to be able to see what has come through. I went all the way back to Jan 2021, and we have never seen this kind of size in the XME. So really notable for this ETF.
Couldn't agree more.
And if that wasn't enough,
here we go again.
Yes, we go into the next week, and we've got size in the XRT. Now, remember, this is our bigger week, our bigger ERs. They did come in close to end of day, Central Time. They originally had come in with a block, which again, we're not looking at just solo blocks. So this didn't really catch our radar as much as it did when they actually came in later in the afternoon and swept this. So originally coming in paying $475 a contract into the $617, $72 puts. They came and swept back to back. You can see how close that timestamp is with over 1.1 million and that contract price increasing. So this was again another one that got pushed to members so that they could take advantage. But a little interesting, the follow up here with what happened the next day. Did you want to talk about this, Charlie?
Yeah, so I sent this out. I was excited about this one. We'd done killed a couple ETFs back to back. Sent this one out the next day. This actually was up in the morning and then immediately just started going down. Like it had gapped up on the open, and within 10, 15 minutes, you could see that it was down about 10%. And what happens? The whales started taking an L on this one. So, and actually where they first started coming in, that 950,000 block, they took about a 5% loss. By the time they got completely out, 10% loss on their top side there. But yeah, it's, whatever spooked them. And I sent back out to the app. I'm like, look, we followed them in. We must follow them out. So I took a loss on this one, about 10% loss on this one myself.
But and those just really, we all don't like to take losses. It's part of what the business is. But I just want to also think about the advantage we have to be able to see when they exit. If you did not have this information to know, this could be something you're sitting on for longer thinking that you had big money in and not even realizing that they could have came back in, and even just that quickly. And this was, this was 13 minutes into the market. And Charlie, not only did they close the 617.72 puts that we were in, they came back later that day and closed the 617.71 puts, and there was almost shy of like 2.75 million that they also closed out of. So it seems like they were aggressively getting out of some of the positions that they had inputs in the XRT, which really got us thinking, because we started to see a few little here's and there sweepers, not anything that was like really catching our eye or too much premium about it, but we did start to see some activity come into the retail space. And this slide, we're going to be talking about some activity that's bullish puts. So I just want to recap what that is, what we're looking for. It's yellow puts at the bid. It means the order is exceeding OI at the bid. It's a sell to open order. The investor writes puts to collect premium. That contract price will now be decreasing, and that IV will be decreasing. So don't typically see much come into Crocs. We did have the 617.60 puts this week at the bid. Interesting because you've got some size here. So they're writing these contracts. You can see originally coming in 401 bid. We're decreasing now at 4, decreasing at 4, and then again at 391. And a double check over here with our open interest. IV at 77, now going to 76, and we can tell all of this coming in a very short dated time. This does look like it is the same buyer. Interestingly enough, you've got this coming in at an area of support, and you're just kind of trying to consolidate sideways here. So that really got us knowing that they're coming out of puts into the XRT. That's our retail space. We definitely have our eyes and ears open to see what we can find in that space. So starting first with some bullish put activity. And Charlie, important, and I want to hone on this again. In this environment, when you have a VIX extremely high, you won't see them come and just start coming in a ton of out of the money calls. Do you want to recap on that so we can just really hone that in?
Yeah, we like to see them writing puts. I mean, that's, and a lot of like Mel said, a lot of times when the VIX is high, you'll see more put writing than call buying. And so even with the market we've had the last couple of days, Crocs is actually up today. It's at 68.40. So they're, these puts are going down. They're collecting premium, and they're making money writing puts, which I love to see, because that is a really bullish sign for us.
It is, and not many know how to identify that, that review options flow. Not all platforms actually will show you the bid side or show you all of the information. We want you to have it all, because in environments like this, and as markets are ever changing, this is what we've been seeing more of this week than we have directionally. So something that is constantly discussed, in the trade room, because it is just that important. So you could start to see and pick up on things that are coming through by this bullish put activity. It's one of my favorite things. I'm not gonna lie. Now that I love kind of catching that, being able to catch that chart and kind of get a feel for what they're doing or what they're getting into. So
those are just currently trading at about 365. So they're not up a ton, but they are up. So pretty interesting.
And a nice spot at the chart where you've got, some sideways consolidation. So Charlie, last time we had we recorded, we were talking about the Nike 916-135 calls that came in. So just wanted to do a little follow-up on that order, because that was definitely a bigger order. And here, just to recap, this is what we were showing on the 916-135 calls. And you did have just shy of 550 million into this strike and expiration with premium. Interesting.
5.5 million.
5.5, yeah, 5.5 million there. Interestingly enough, we did see them exit. So this was on Thursday. Markets were closed on that Friday for Good Friday. The following Friday, they started to exit. Here you can see on 422, the same strike and expiration. these contracts are going bid, starting at 1040, 1035, and this continues to go down as they exit. There's no longer interest in this contract, so you're going to see that pricing decrease, and that IV starting at 29 also starting to decrease. So it kind of brings up a good point to be able to watch this. So they were able to take in some profit. They made about 1.58 million off of this trade. Interestingly enough, you did have a little pullback come into Nike, but then yesterday, Thursday the 28th, wow. And I'm gonna let you take this one, Charlie, because this was great.
They hit it. We sent this out to the app too, so for everybody at work, and we got a lot of good DMs and messages from this. They came in yesterday morning. First one's a little bid side, real small, 165,000, but then boom, you see the IV jump there. It goes to 1040, and then it just starts continually going up, up, and up. So right there at that 2.92 million is where we sent it out. And I believe Maria put this out in her channel as well. And then, you know, today those contracts hit 1350 on the open, shortly after the open. So a good, you know, 250, 300 buck chuck, depending on where you got in on these contracts. We love to follow the Nike guys. So they did take advantage of this pullback, and, you know, they had took profits, you know, off that recent one from 414 and came back in yesterday.
Yep, you can always get back in. So it's interesting to be able to show this as an example where you're seeing big money do the same thing that, you know, we should be doing as traders ourselves, and right out of the gate. And they just didn't stop. So here you have the larger positioning here with about 7 million, over 7 million coming in here. Here's a look at that chart. We did get a pullback, and then we just took off, and just indicating where they additionally came in throughout the day, because they just didn't stop. Coming back in 3 hours later, hitting again with size. So these premiums are really large, contract price going up, and you could just see how the IV has increased, how the pricing has increased, and they said, I still want some, get me in. And this contract with 12.5 million in premium, I mean, that's size. That is size.
That is size. Yes, ma'am.
Definitely what we're looking for. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, we're going to continue to make some of these videos. We have so many changes in the market, and as we start to see different flow that we want to make sure you're paying attention to, and just a great way to talk through what we're looking at, what's really catching our eye, and be able to spend a little more time on that. If you are interested in joining BlackBoxStocks, just click the link below. This is stuff that we talk about all through the trading day with our team, so we'd love to have you join. Charlie, this has been amazing, and really excited and looking forward to doing more of these.
Me too. Thanks, Mel.
Take care.